You're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So after Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. watched Gennady Golovkin stop Martin Murray this past weekend, Chavez was not impressed. In fact, he was so confident that he could beat Golovkin after watching his performance, he challenged Golovkin. That's right. Matter of fact, this is exactly what Chavez had to say. Quote, "Without his power, he's not that good of a boxer. I'll bet you, Gigi, $1 million of the purse that I'll knock you out if we fight. Come to my weight class at 168. But first, I need to beat Fanfara. And he's bigger and stronger than Gennady Golovkin." End quote. Now, the first thing I want to say to that is Chavez is absolutely right. The first thing he has to do is beat Fanfara. And there's really no guarantee that he will even beat Fanfara. But I will tell you guys this. Styles make fights. And when I say styles make fights, I'm talking about Chavez versus Golovkin. I'm not saying that Chavez is going to beat Golovkin, at least not right now. But what I am telling you is styles make fights. You know, let's rewind a little bit and go back to what Chavez said at the beginning of this statement. Chavez says something that I have heard a lot of professional boxers and trainers say about Golovkin, which is, without his power, he would not be that good. Or they say, you know, he has a lot of power. That's the first thing they say. He has a lot of power. But a lot of people have power, which is what Oscar De La Hoya said. But a lot of people have power. The problem with Golovkin is he is flat-footed and he's going to have problems with fighters that know how to move around the ring, give him different looks, adjust in the fight. Oscar would go on to say Golovkin, his problem is he only fights one way. And then Oscar even compared Golovkin to Keith Thurman because we were just talking about a couple different fighters. And he was like, oh yeah, Keith Thurman is much better than Golovkin, hands down, right? So the point that I'm making is a lot of the boxing trainers, a lot of the fighters that I've talked to, they have pretty much said the same things about Golovkin. Just like a lot of the boxers and trainers, they have said the same things about Canelo Alvarez, right? I mean, even before he fought against Erislandy Lara, they said the same things about Canelo Alvarez. But what's so funny is, when I say these things, these Canelo Alvarez fans, these, extreme Golovkin fans, they want to say, oh, you're being a hater and so on and so forth. But when the pros and the trainers say it, especially when it's somebody that they actually like that says something like that and agrees with me, then they try to make excuses for why that person even said that. Like, it can't be that they just truly believe this. It can't be that it makes sense and, logically, this is the way a professional boxer would break down a person's flaws. It can't just be that. No, there has to be a reason. Oh, it's because Golovkin, is not promoted by Oscar De La Hoya. Oh, it's because Keith Thurman has ties with, Oscar De La Hoya, and so on and so forth. Really? So you mean when Oscar De La Hoya breaks down a person's flaws, and he's making perfect sense of why this guy would have problems, you're telling me that it couldn't possibly be true what he's saying, and it has to be some promotional stunt or something like that? They know that's not the case, but it makes them feel better to come up with the excuses because they don't want to believe the truth. If the truth does not benefit them, they do not want to hear it, and they don't want to believe it. I remember my man Arab King, he posted a comment on one of my videos. Shouts out to Arab King. And he was pretty much talking about some fighters' flaws. I forget who it was. And he was talking about Floyd Mayweather's strengths. He was talking about Floyd Mayweather's natural talent. So some Canelo fan replies to Arab by basically saying, shut up. You're just saying that because you're Egyptian and Egypt is in Africa. Can you believe the ignorance that exists on the internet? And I shouldn't even say the internet. Maybe I should say from this country we live in, because this is where the majority of ignorance starts. But the point I'm obviously making is these fans try to convince themselves that if you say anything positive or that makes sense that they don't favor, then they're going to say something must be wrong with you for even saying it, right? Something must be wrong with you. It can't be nothing wrong with them. Something is wrong with you. So anyway, going back to this challenge that Julio Cesar Chavez proposed, a $1 million bet that he could knock out Gennady Golovkin, Team Golovkin, they actually respond and they accept Julio Cesar Chavez's challenge, right? So they say, we're willing to take the challenge. Now, guys, I would love to see this fight. Like I said earlier, of course, Chavez has to get past Fonfara, which is not a guarantee. But one thing I will tell you, if Chavez gets past Fonfara, Chavez, if he fights Golovkin the same way he fought Andy Lee in the later rounds before he knocked out Andy Lee, if he fights the same way he fought Sergio Martinez in the championship rounds, I'm telling you right now, he is going to give Golovkin all that he can handle. Because one thing I notice about Golovkin, it seems to me Golovkin is not really comfortable with pressure, with fighters putting a lot of pressure on him. If you go back and you watch the Curtis Stevens fight, the Kassim Uma fight, and even, I know this is going to surprise you when I say this, but I'll make sense of it. Even when you watch the Marco Antonio Rubio fight, there were times in all of those fights where Golovkin looked a little uncomfortable with the onslaught, with the pressure, okay? Let's just start with Rubio for a second. Now, I have pictures, but I don't feel like, uploading them right now. But if you guys go back and you watch that fight, you'll notice before Rubio got knocked out, Rubio tried to go toe-to-toe with Golovkin. Soon as Rubio opened up with a barrage of punches, the first thing Golovkin did was he reached out and he tried to tie up Marco Antonio Rubio. When he fought against Kassim Uma was able to back him up, and he lost a lot of rounds in the Kassim Uma fight with that pressure that Uma was applying. When Golovkin fought Curtis Stevens, there were times when Curtis was backing up Golovkin, and Golovkin did not look comfortable backing up. So I truly believe a fighter that is very versatile, can fight on the inside very comfortably, but can also move around the ring and box when they feel like it, like an Andre Ward. These type of fighters would give Golovkin a lot of problems. But when it comes to Chavez, I believe with his natural size, his power, his aggression, and his chin, he would definitely give Golovkin a real fight. I mean, I feel if Martin Murray can do what he was able to do to Golovkin in 11 rounds without any power at all, without any physical muscle, he had no type of strength, he had no type of power, but he was able to get some things done in there. Imagine what Chavez would be able to do if he was in the ring and he was consistently attacking Gennady Golovkin, trying to push back Golovkin, right? I think this fight will look a lot like Lucas Matisse versus John Molina. You had the more intelligent, aggressive fighter Lucas Matisse going against the more typical brawler with a lot of power. If you guys remember, Matisse, he was really pushed to the limit in that fight against John Molina. I can see shades of that happening in a Chavez versus Golovkin fight. That's pretty much all I got. I'm on to the next one.